No man in the Quran has ever left the surface of the earth without dying, but a man named Idris walked the earth, wise, kind, and chosen by Allah for something no one had ever seen before. As evil spread and hearts grew cold, Idris stood like a light in the dark, teaching truth and guiding souls. But then, something incredible happened. An angel came, and the sky opened. Idris was lifted higher than any human had ever gone. What he saw up there, and what he became, will leave you breathless. This is an important story to watch and learn from the Prophet Enoch Idris in the Quran. We have gathered all you need to know about this teaching and lessons. Please support us by liking and commenting to help this video reach other people, so the message of Allah can be spread across all nations. "Oh Allah, if you choose me, I will say yes." He didn't know what he was asking for. But deep inside, he felt it. Like sunlight rising behind a mountain. Something was coming. And Idris, the boy who listened to the sky, was ready to listen even more. Idris was growing. His legs were stronger now. His voice was deeper. But his heart? It was still soft like morning light, full of kindness and quiet courage. He still loved the stars. He still listened to the sky. And every morning before sunrise, he would whisper, "Oh Allah, I am yours. Show me what you want me to do." One day, Idris sat on his favorite hill. The sky was dark blue, and the stars were yawning goodbye as the sun began to peek over the mountains. He was praying, not out loud, just silently, with every part of his soul. Suddenly, something happened. A warm light filled his chest. Not fire. Not the sun. Not the kind of light you see with your eyes, but a light you feel. His heart lit up. His body froze. His eyes filled with tears. He didn't hear a voice from outside, no sound from the trees or clouds, but inside, he heard it clear as day. "Idris, I have chosen you." His hands trembled. Chosen? Chosen by Allah? The air around him felt like it was glowing. The ground beneath him felt soft, almost floating. The sky, it looked closer than ever, like it was leaning down to listen. "You are now a prophet," the voice said again in his heart. "Tell the people about me. Remind them of my light. Guide them back to truth." Tears rolled down Idris's cheeks. Not because he was scared, but because he had never felt so loved, so seen, so trusted. "Ya Allah," he whispered, his voice shaking, "I am only one person. How can I help so many?" And again, deep inside, he felt the answer with truth, "And with me, you are never alone." From that day forward, Idris was not just a kind boy who prayed. He was a prophet. Allah had placed a light in his heart, a message on his tongue, and courage in his bones. He was ready to teach, ready to guide, ready to speak when others stayed silent. He went to the people of his village, the ones who had forgotten Allah, who had filled their lives with statues and lies. And he stood in the middle of the crowd and said, for the first time with the voice of a prophet, "O people, listen to me. You did not make the sky. You did not hang the stars. The idols you bow to are made by your own hands. Allah made you. He gave you eyes to see, ears to hear, and hearts to feel. Worship only Him." The people stopped and stared. Some were confused. Some laughed. Some grew angry. One man pointed and shouted, "Who are you to tell us what to do?" Idris looked him in the eye, calm as always, and said, "I am no king. I am not here to rule. I am only here because Allah sent me, to remind you of what you already know deep down inside." A little girl tugged on her mother's dress and asked, "Mama, what if he's right?" Idris knelt down to her level, smiled gently, and said, "If you listen to your heart, little one, you'll hear him calling too." The days passed. Idris kept teaching. He spoke to the kind and the cruel, to children and elders, to rich and poor. He told them all Allah is the most loving, the most patient. Turn back to Him. Leave your statues. Speak the truth. Help the weak. Be kind. Some people believed him. Their hearts lit up just like his. They wept and hugged him and said, "Thank you, Idris. We forgot, but now we remember." But others turned away. Some whispered lies about him. Some said, he's just a dreamer. Some even tried to scare him. Idris didn't stop. He was strong, not because he fought back, but because his heart never gave up. Even if only one heart remembers Allah, Idris said, then my words are not wasted. Then one night, Idris was alone again on his hill. The wind was quiet. The stars were blinking slowly. He looked up and prayed. "Why, Allah? I did what you asked." Some listened. Some didn't. But I will keep going. Even if my voice grows tired, my heart will never stop calling. As he prayed, a gentle breeze brushed past him. It felt like a hug from the sky. Then Idris said something he had never said before. "Oh Allah, I love you. More than the sky. More than the stars. More than the breath in my lungs. I love you because you never left me, not even for one moment," and somewhere far, far beyond the clouds, an angel smiled. Idris became a symbol of truth. Children would run to him when they were afraid. Old people would sit beside him just to feel peaceful. He never shouted. He never forced. He just spoke the truth, and the truth made people think. He wore simple clothes. He ate simple food. But his heart, it was full of golden light. His days were long. His nights were full of prayer. And every time he laid his head down to sleep, he would whisper, "I am yours, O Allah. I am yours." The Qu'Ran says, and mention in the book, Idris. Indeed, he was a man of truth and a prophet. Surah Maryam 1956. And that is what he was, a man of truth, a heart full of light, a prophet chosen by Allah. But this was just the beginning. The sky was still waiting. The stars had more to show, and Idris's journey was about to rise even higher. The sun was rising slowly, brushing the earth with golden light. Idris stood in his usual place, on top of the hill that kissed the sky. He watched the clouds move like ships across the heavens. His eyes sparkled. His hands were folded. His heart whispered, "Oh Allah, thank you for this morning. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for choosing me." Idris was not just a boy anymore. He was a prophet, now Allah's chosen teacher. And every day, he worked hard to help people remember the truth. But there was something new happening inside him, a spark. It came with a quiet question. How can I help people remember forever? People listened when Idris spoke. But words could fade. Memories could be lost. Hearts could forget again, so Allah, in his great wisdom, gave Idris a special gift. A gift no one had ever had before. The gift of writing. One night, as Idris sat under the stars, something soft touched his hand. He looked down. It was a reed, a long, straight stick from the riverbank. The wind blew gently, almost like it had placed it there on purpose. Then came the voice inside his heart. The same voice that spoke to him when Allah chose him as a prophet. "Use this, Idris." Idris held the reed gently. Then the voice said, "Dip it in ink. Let it carry your words. Write the truth, and it will never disappear." Idris smiled. "Yes, ya Allah," he whispered. "I will write for you." The next morning, he went to work. He found soft pieces of leather. He cleaned them. He dried them in the sun. He crushed berries and plants to make ink. He dipped the reed into the color, and with a steady hand, he made a mark, the first mark anyone had ever made on earth. He wrote, "La ilaha illallah." The words looked small, but they felt big. As big as the sky. His heart filled with joy. He wasn't just saying the truth anymore. He was writing it. Saving it. Sharing it with the world in a brand new way. He wrote more. "Be kind to your neighbor, speak only what is true, feed the hungry, remember Allah often." Children gathered around him as he wrote. They asked, "What are you doing, Prophet Idris?" He smiled. "I am putting truth on the earth, one word at a time." They watched, eyes wide with wonder. The way the reed moved, the way the letters came to life, it was like magic. But it wasn't magic, it was mercy from Allah. As time passed, Idris began teaching the people how to write too. He showed them how to hold the reed. How to make ink. How to form the shapes of letters. At first, their lines were messy. Their hands shook. But Idris was patient. Writing is like planting, he told them. You water the paper with truth. Then the words grow in someone else's heart. People began to write their prayers. Mothers wrote names of their children. Fathers wrote kind advice. Children drew the stars and labeled them with words, moon, sky, Allah. Soon, the whole village was learning. Idris had become more than a prophet. He had become a teacher of letters, a messenger of memory, and the first writer the earth had ever known. But not everyone was happy. Some of the village leaders, who loved power and pride, grew jealous. They said, "Why should we follow this man who draws on leather like a child?" Another said, "He teaches people to think, to question their old ways. That is dangerous." They tried to stop him. But Idris stayed calm. His voice didn't rise. His heart didn't shake. "The pen is stronger than the sword," he said, "because it speaks even when I am gone." The Qu'Ran later told us he was a man of truth and a prophet. And we raised him to a high station. Surah Maryam 19:56-57. But before that high station in the sky, before the angels welcomed him, Idris walked this earth with a pen in his hand and light in his chest. He was the first to write, the first to teach writing, the first to leave behind truth that could be seen, read, and remembered. He didn't wear a crown, he didn't ride a throne, but he gave people something greater than gold. He gave them words that could live forever. Now, whenever we pick up a pen, whenever we write something good, whenever we read and learn and share truth, a tiny part of Idris's light is shining again, and up in the heavens, far beyond the stars, the one who first held the reed may be smiling, knowing that the story of truth still goes on. Idris had taught many people about the truth. He had written the words down, and his teaching spread like seeds in the wind. The people learned how to pray, how to be kind, and how to always remember Allah. The children smiled brighter, and the elderly felt peaceful, remembering the things they had forgotten, but not everyone accepted the truth. While some hearts opened, others stayed cold. Some people refused to believe what Idris was teaching. They liked their old ways, their statues, their false gods. And little by little, they began to forget the words that Idris had written. The world began to slip back into darkness. One day, as Idris sat in the village, watching the children play, a feeling of sadness touched his heart. The people were no longer listening like they used to. They were turning away from the truth. A man stood before him, his face angry. "Idris, why do you waste your time?" the man shouted. "These people do not want your words. They do not want your teachings. They want their idols, their statues. You will not change them." Idris looked at the man with kindness, though his heart felt heavy. "I do not change hearts," he replied quietly. "It is Allah who changes hearts. My job is only to share the truth." But even as he spoke, he could see the people drifting away. They were forgetting the truth. Their hearts were growing heavy again. The darkness was creeping back. The Qu'Ran tells us that people often forget the truth. Even those who knew it. Even those who had been given the guidance. But after them came successors who abandoned the prayer and followed their desires. So they are going to meet evil. Surah Maryam 19:59. Idris felt a great sadness in his heart. He had taught them everything he could. He had shared the light of truth, but the people were forgetting it. The statues they had once rejected were now being placed back in their homes. The truth was slipping away from their hearts. And this made him worried. He prayed harder. "Why, Allah, what can I do? How can I bring them back to the truth?" One quiet night, as the stars twinkled above and the air was still, Idris climbed his favorite hill again. He sat down, looking at the sky. The moon was full, shining brightly as if it was watching him. He closed his eyes, and there, in his heart, he heard the voice of Allah once more. "Idris," the voice said, "you have done your part. You have shared my message. You have spoken the truth, and written it for the people. But now, you must trust in me. Do not worry, for I will not let the truth disappear." Idris's heart filled with peace. He knew that Allah was always with him, even when the people forgot. Even when the world seemed dark. Allah would keep the truth alive. "Ya Allah, I trust you," Idris whispered. "You are the protector of all truth." But as much as Idris trusted Allah, he knew that his time on earth was coming to an end. His mission was complete. He had taught the people. He had written the words. He had shown them the path. Now, it was time for him to leave. One day, as Idris walked through the village, something strange happened. The sky changed, the clouds swirled, and the wind began to pick up. The birds flew quickly, and the earth seemed to hum with energy. Idris stopped in his tracks, his heart racing. He looked up at the sky. And then, in a moment of complete peace, a light brighter than the sun surrounded him. He felt himself being lifted off the ground, higher and higher. His body felt light, like a leaf caught in the wind. He didn't understand what was happening, but he didn't fear it either. He knew it was Allah's will. Idris rose higher, the earth shrinking beneath him. The village, the people, the trees, they were all becoming small, far below. And the stars above grew closer, as if they were welcoming him home. He was going to the place where no one could forget the truth, the place where the light never fades. In the Qu'Ran, Allah says, "We raised him to a high place." Surah Maryam 1957. Idris, the prophet who taught with love, who wrote the first words of truth, was taken to a place where the light would always shine, a place where he would be remembered forever. Allah did not let him die like everyone else. Instead, he raised him up, to protect him from the darkness that had begun to spread on earth. From that moment on, Idris was no longer on the earth. He was with the angels, in a place of honor and light, where the truth could never be forgotten. And though the people of the earth continued to forget, the words he had written lived on, preserved by Allah. The children who grew up hearing the story of Idris, and the ones who read the words he had written, could still find the light of truth. And the message he carried, that Allah is the one true God, would always be there, waiting for the hearts that would listen. Idris's story didn't end with his departure from earth. It lived on in the hearts of those who listened, who read, and who remembered. And even today, whenever we write something true, or speak something kind, or remember Allah in our hearts, the light of Idris shines again, for truth is never truly forgotten. It is always waiting to be found. Idris had ascended to the heavens, his mission on earth complete. But his story didn't end with his departure. The truth he had shared continued to echo through time like a song that never fades away. The words Idris had written were still there, preserved by Allah's will. The message of truth, the message of Allah, could never be lost. It lived on in the hearts of the people who listened to him, who remembered the words he spoke, and who passed them down to others. And so, generations after Idris's ascension, the world continued, with some forgetting and others remembering. A long time passed, but the legacy of Prophet Idris lived on in the hearts of the believers. His teachings were shared by those who loved Allah, and the words he had written about kindness, truth, and prayer stayed alive in the world. Parents would tell their children the story of Idris, of how he had written the first words and taught the truth to the people. And the children, wide-eyed and full of wonder, would ask questions. Why did Allah raise Prophet Idris up to the sky? One child asked. The mother smiled and said, because Idris was a man of truth. He never stopped teaching about Allah, no matter what others said. He was patient and kind. Allah loved him so much that he took him to a place where no one would forget the truth. The children nodded, feeling a sense of peace and understanding, even though they didn't know all the answers. The memory of Prophet Idris was alive in their hearts. And through them, his legacy lived on. Even in the face of hardship, the message of Idris's truth continued to guide the people. There were always challenges, always those who chose to forget Allah and follow their own desires. But whenever the people found themselves in confusion, the truth of Allah's words would always call them back. One day, a man named Zachariah sat alone in his home, reading a scroll that had been passed down from his ancestors. It was old, the ink faded in places, but the words were still clear. It was the first time he had read the writings of Prophet Idris. As Zachariah read, his heart began to change. He saw the light in the words, and his eyes filled with tears. He had always wondered about the world, about his purpose. Now, he understood. The message of truth was clear. He rushed to the village square and gathered the people. Listen, he cried. The truth is here. The words of Prophet Idris are here, still alive, still guiding us. The people gathered around him, and Zachariah began to read from the scroll aloud. The words of Prophet Idris filled the air like a breath of fresh wind. And as the people listened, their hearts were touched. They remembered the truth once again. There is no God but Allah. He is the Creator, the Sustainer. Worship only Him, and remember Him always. The people stood in silence, their hearts moved by the truth they had almost forgotten. The words of Prophet Idris had brought them back to the path of righteousness. Years went by, and the legacy of Idris continued to inspire many. His story was told and retold, each time with more love, more respect. The people knew that his time on earth had been short, but his impact was eternal. Idris had been the first to teach the people how to write. He had been the first to leave behind a record of truth, a way for the message of Allah to be shared across time, even when people were not there to speak it. His legacy was in every written word, in every book of truth, and in the hearts of those who remembered Allah. One quiet evening, a young boy sat by the fire, holding a small scroll in his hands. His grandfather sat beside him, his eyes twinkling as he spoke. "Do you know who first wrote down the words of truth, my child?" the grandfather asked. The boy shook his head, his curiosity growing. "It was Prophet Idris," the grandfather said softly. "He was the first to write the message of Allah, to teach us how to remember Him. The ink he used, the words he wrote, they've been passed down through generations. They still guide us today." The boy's eyes widened with wonder. "So, every time I write something, I'm following the path of Prophet Idris?" The grandfather smiled. "Yes, every word that carries the truth of Allah is part of his legacy." The boy held the scroll tightly, understanding the deep importance of what he was holding. It wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a connection to the past. A connection to Prophet Idris and the truth he had shared with the world. The legacy of Prophet Idris wasn't just in the scrolls or the words he wrote. It was in every act of kindness, every prayer said with sincerity, and every heart that remembered Allah. His truth was alive in the world, living in the hearts of those who chose to follow the path of righteousness. Prophet Idris had been a man of truth, and his legacy was truth. His teachings were simple, but powerful. Worship only Allah. Be kind to one another. Help those in need. And remember that the truth will always guide you. These words, written long ago, continue to guide the people in every generation. And so, the legacy of Prophet Idris lived on not just in books or scrolls, but in the hearts of all who chose to remember the truth. The Qu'Ran reminds us of Prophet Idris's importance, saying, "And we raised him to a high place." Surah Maryam 19:57. Though he was taken from the earth, his light continues to shine in the hearts of those who remember, in the words we write, and in the acts of kindness that keep the legacy of truth alive. Idris's story is not just one of the past. It is a story for every time. A story of truth that never fades, never dies, and always finds its way to those who seek it. The day had come for Idris to leave Earth. He stood quietly on the ground, looking up at the sky one last time. The people he had taught, the children who had learned to write, and the memories of everything he had done were all part of him now. But it was time for something new. Suddenly, the air around him began to feel different. A soft breeze touched his face, and a bright light appeared in front of him. It wasn't the sunlight or the stars, it was something much brighter. From the light, an angel appeared. The angel smiled at Idris, his wings spreading wide. He was tall and shining, with a face full of kindness. "Idris," the angel said gently, "Allah has called you to a higher place." Idris's heart filled with peace. He knew this moment had come, the moment Allah had planned for him. His job on earth was finished. Now, he would be taken to a place where no one had ever gone. The angel extended his hand. "Come with me, Idris." Idris took the angel's hand, and in the next instant, he was lifted off the ground. Higher and higher they went, up into the sky. As they flew, Idris looked down. The earth grew smaller and smaller until it looked like a tiny dot below him. He could see the people below, the fields, the rivers, the mountains. Everything he had known was now far away. But the sky above him was vast, filled with colors he had never seen before, soft blues, radiant purples, and golden whites. The stars twinkled like diamonds, dancing in the sky. The moon glowed gently, casting a peaceful light over everything. Is this real? Idris thought. Or is it just a dream? But the feeling was real. The air around him felt different, cool and refreshing. He could feel the breeze in his hair, but it was not like the winds he had known on earth. It was a wind from somewhere else, from the heavens. The angel spoke again, his voice like music in the air. This is the place Allah has chosen for you, Idris. You are being raised to a high station. Idris felt no fear. He only felt peace. The angels around him were smiling, and the light was warm. He was traveling to a place where he would be closer to Allah, surrounded by beings of light and love. It was the most beautiful journey anyone could ever take. As they flew higher, Idris saw things he could never have imagined. Far below, the earth was like a small, blue marble. The clouds looked soft, like cotton. The stars twinkled in ways he had never seen before, as if they were waiting for him. The journey felt both long and short. It was like time didn't matter here, in the heavens. Idris felt as though he was traveling through a dream, but it was a dream that was real, filled with light and peace. Finally, they reached a place where the sky seemed to open up. Idris could see the angels surrounding him, and a vast, beautiful light filled the space. It was a light that had no beginning and no end, a light that seemed to come from everywhere. And at that moment, Idris knew. He was in a place where no one could forget the truth. A place of honor, a place of peace. The angel gently set him down, and Idris knew that this was his new home, closer to Allah than ever before. Idris had been taken to the heavens, where his mission would continue. He would be remembered for all time, and his story would inspire hearts everywhere, reminding them of the truth, the kindness, and the love of Allah. The journey to the heavens continued. Idris and the angel flew higher and higher, passing through layers of clouds, stars, and moons. With every moment, Idris's heart felt lighter, like he was leaving behind the worries of earth and moving closer to something pure and peaceful. As they reached the fourth heaven, the angel slowed down. The air was calm and cool, and everything around them shimmered with a soft, golden light. Idris could feel the presence of peace, something deep and beautiful, that made him feel completely at ease. The angel spoke softly, his voice gentle and kind. Idris, we have reached the place where Allah has chosen for you to stay. Here is where your soul will rest. Here, you will be honored. Idris looked around. The sky was unlike anything he had ever seen on earth. The stars twinkled like diamonds, shining brightly but not hurting his eyes. There was a soft breeze, cool and fresh, that whispered through the air. The clouds were like pillows of light, and everything around him was bathed in a serene glow. His heart filled with joy. He knew this was the place Allah had prepared for him. He had always served Allah with love and kindness, and now, he was being rewarded in a way beyond his understanding. This is your home now, Idris, the angel continued. You will remain here, high above the earth, in a place of peace and honor. Only those who are truly good and loved by Allah are brought here. Idris smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. He looked up at the sky, his heart overflowing with happiness. His time on earth had been full of hard work, teaching, writing, and guiding others to the truth. But now, he was in a place where the truth was all around him, and there was no darkness to cloud it. He felt no fear or worry. All the struggles and challenges he had faced were now far behind him, and here, in this beautiful, peaceful place, he was free to rest in Allah's presence. The angel stepped back, giving Idris space to take in his new home. The place was peaceful, and as Idris stood there, he realized how much he had been given. Allah had raised him to a high place, away from the trials of the earth, to a place where only those who truly loved and followed Allah could go. Idris looked back at the earth, now so small below him. He thought of the people he had left behind, the ones who had listened to his teachings, and even those who had forgotten the truth. But his heart was filled with peace. He knew that Allah was always watching over them, and the truth would continue to spread, just as he had shared it. Thank you, Allah, Idris whispered softly. I trust you, and I am grateful for this honor. And so, Idris stayed in the fourth heaven, high above the world, where only the good go. His heart was full of peace, and he was now closer to Allah than ever before. The light around him shone brighter than anything he had ever seen, and he knew that in this place, he would remain, in the presence of Allah, for all time. Idris is not gone. He is not lost. He is still there, in the high heavens, watching over the world below. He is not far away, but rather, he is with the angels, where the peace of Allah surrounds him, and the light shines brightly, like the stars in the night sky. Though he no longer walks on earth, Idris's spirit is alive. He is in a place so high that only the purest hearts can reach it. From there, he looks down on the world, not with sadness or longing, but with a sense of peace. He knows that his time on earth was not in vain. He had shared the truth, guided those in need, and left a legacy of love, kindness, and worship of Allah. The stars above twinkle with the memory of his journey. They whisper his story, soft and gentle, for those who are willing to listen. Every night, when the moon rises and the sky fills with light, the stars tell the children of the world the story of Prophet Idris. He was a man of truth, the stars whisper. He taught us how to write, how to remember Allah, and how to be kind to one another. The people who look at the stars feel a sense of peace when they think of him. They don't know exactly where he is, but they know he is watching. They know that the angels are with him, and that he is in a place where the light never fades. The stars continue to shine, each one a reminder of his wisdom and his journey. They tell his story to the hearts of those who listen. Idris may no longer be with us in the way we understand, but his influence remains. One day, when the time is right, Allah may call Idris back to earth. Just as he was lifted to the heavens, he may return, bringing with him the light of truth once more. But for now, he remains a secret watcher, observing the world with love and patience. Idris's story is one of hope. He lived a life of truth and goodness, and now he is in a place of honor. He waits, in the company of angels, for the day when his work on earth may begin again. For those who believe, Idris's spirit will never be far away. His teachings will live on in the hearts of the faithful, whispered in the winds, carried by the stars, and passed down through generations, and as the stars twinkle above us, we remember him. We remember the Prophet who taught us to write, to seek knowledge, and to always turn to Allah. His legacy is a light that never dims. It is in the stories we tell, in the kindness we show, and in the love we share. As long as the stars shine in the sky, the story of Prophet Idris will never fade. Idris watches, waiting for the day when he may return. But for now, he is with the angels, in a high place filled with peace and light. His story continues to live on in the hearts of those who seek the truth, reminding us always to be kind, to worship Allah, and to never forget the lessons he taught, and so, the stars whisper his story forever.